And the second question is, what is functional movement? We hear it everywhere. Everyone talks about functional movement, but what is it actually?
That's such a tough one. Okay. Um, I think someone invented that word because it sounds nice, but my question is always, okay, what does that mean? And maybe I already asked some people that question and they couldn't give me a straight answer. And the only thing I can say to this is if you ask that question, like what is a functional movement, and somebody gives you the name of an exercise, run. Run as fast as you can. This is not what training is about. Okay, let me explain it a little bit. I don't think in exercises. I think in which problem do I need to solve for you so you can learn the skills of position with tension. That's all I care about. Um, if you force me to create a definition of what a functional movement is, it's super simple. Whatever you think it is, whatever you're doing, it needs to solve an actual problem. That means you get better at the skill of position or you get better at the skill of tension, which means you either can move more weight, use more big muscles, have less pain. There's somewhat of a measurable outcome at the end of you doing functional movements. If you do functional movements because you learned the definition by heart, which is um, it mimics daily movements, right? So like it mimics to sit down, it mimics to pick things up. It's like that's I get it, I get the thought behind it. But what is the second layer to it? What is the part that I can learn and teach somebody else? Is it sitting down on a chair and getting up from it, or is it okay? Where does the bones need to be in that movement, and which muscles are moving those bones in the right positions? So again, position with tension. Um, so I don't know what to answer outside of this pretty long as answer. I think it's a buzzword that people are using um, to even shorten 5-second elevator pitches to get people to train. And I get it. It's a good hook. But we will all benefit from loading this up with actual practical and tactical stuff that we can teach and learn so everybody gets better, has less back pain, and can squat more weight. That's all I care about. If that's working and you're calling it functional movement, awesome. Keep calling it functional movement. I don't care. If it's not working and you're just doing functional movements for the sake of doing functional movements because you think it mimics everyday's life, then I don't think it's a good idea to follow that road. Um, we could actually, yes, let's go a little bit deeper into it. So in the book, when I talk about exercises and equipment, I talk about how to approach them. So this is not about, okay, this exercise, like a chainsaw rope pull, is better than a deadlift. This is not what I'm here for. I'm here for trying to learn you a certain behavior in certain situations. So in the book, I have 3 different phases. There's a learning phase, there's a training phase, and there's a testing phase. And those are completely different things in training. So, point A, learning. I have to learn what learning behavior looks like. Point B is I have to learn what training behavior looks like, and I have to learn what testing behavior looks like. Why? If I don't know how to approach it, it doesn't matter which exercise I'm executing. It doesn't matter if it's a chainsaw rope pull. I can fuck up a chainsaw rope pull. I can fuck up a deadlift. It doesn't matter. We have to learn first which behavior makes sense for learning stuff during training and during testing. I'll try to sum it up real quickly. Learning, learning is a tough one because what actual learning is you have to do something different than you always did, for example, when you squatted. Otherwise, you have not learned. So the learning behavior means, okay, you have used your quads on your squat on the way down for the last 10 years. That's one of the reasons why your knee hurts or your hip hurts or whatever happens next. That means if you want to prove that you learned, you have to change your behavior. That means you have to use your hamstrings on the way down instead of your quads. This sounds so logical, but that's not how our squat is being taught. So learning behavior literally means I have to change something that I did and did not work, obviously. And that's a tough one because no human on earth has a fun time changing their behavior just because it's so fun. Because the goal of training is seeking voluntary discomfort without self-destructive behavior. That's the ultimate goal of training, and learning those three behaviors is going to help you get there. One sentence to training behavior. Training behavior means, very simply, there's one key element that's, in the book, I say 80% of whatever you're doing in the gym should be towards training and training behavior. Training behavior means I have to have only one thing in mind when I do that 80% block, which is how can I engage the muscle from chain 3? We've never talked about this before, but let me sum it up real quick. The 3 main muscles, obliques, lats, and glutes. How can I get those 3 involved in whatever I'm doing, right? Maybe not all of them at once, but most of the times it's only about, and there's a big part of the training behavior block is, how can I change my behavior, my position with tension to get to those 3 muscles first? That's 80% of your training. That's all you need to care about when you're in that training phase. And again, I don't care if you do chains or row pulls or deadlifts, right? There's some exercises where you have an easier time following the chain 3 route, and there's exercises where you have a harder time. But that doesn't make it any more good or bad. It's just that's a harder route and it's going to take longer. That's an easier route and you're going to have faster progress. You do you choose you. I have certain templates that you can follow, so you have a route to go, but that's the only thing we care about in 80% of our training. When we're doing pull-ups, the first thing is, okay, we need the shoulder blades and we need the lats. That's all we care about for probably the first 2 or 3 years. And that means we have to find fun and exciting and enticing ways how to teach the same thing over and over again without it being boring. That might be a good start to think about coaching and teaching others than always throwing new stuff at people. And the last one, the testing behavior is, and this in the book I call it roughly 10% of your training. So 10% learning, 80% training, and 10% testing. Testing behavior is stop thinking, execute, move heavy weights, shit your pants, suck it up. That's it. That's testing behavior. There's no questioning of which muscles should work now or is that picture perfect. The only benchmark is don't kill yourself. That's it. Other than that, shut up your brain, grow some balls, move weight. Maybe do like 1 rep out of 5, the last one, which is not picture perfect. That's totally fine. But again, it's 10%, not even of your training time, it's 10% of a year. You can do the math on it. That means 1 session every 4 to 5 weeks, right? This is not every training. This is 1 session, 60 minutes of a 4 to 6 week cycle. That's it. And the rest is 10% learning and 80% training behavior. If that's not concrete enough, I would love to make it more concrete. So if you guys want to bring on some exercises that I'm going to break down, I actually have the squat in the book, so that's already in the book and will be covered there. What that actually means, I have literally on like 5 pages a conversation written down between a coach and a student who needs to work on his back squat, because if he does 5 barbell back squats with 80 kilos, he experiences knee pain. And I have a 5-page written out conversation of what the coach is saying and what to not say, and what the person is saying and thinking. So we have a process how to do that learning, training, and testing phase in practice. If you want to see or hear other stuff on me here, bring it on. We can do a pull-up, we can do a push-up, we can do a bench press, we can do a deadlift, we can do whatever you want. I don't care. Bring it on, and I'd love talking about it. Any more questions, thoughts, ideas?